Hello, everybody. Count rank 60 now. I wanted to do a game review of Wuthering Waves, the I guess the best Genshin Impact clone. Um, I don't know if there's really any others of this scale, to be completely frank. But I did just get 90 today, and I have finished the Tower of Adversity. And I kind of want to just vent a little bit about kind of my experience with the game and so on. So the first thing I want to talk about in the game is like kind of the good and the bad. In the good section, I would put the combat in this game. The combat in this game is absolutely fantastic, and what I like about it is I basically suck at the game, but even I could still finish all the content. But then in terms of like maximizing and optimizing your potential and your DPS, it's absolutely wild. The things you can do with animation canceling and just the depth of some of the combo crafters on some of the websites and the things that they put together are pretty wild. So if you really are kind of like a hardcore combat junkie and you really like to like sit around optimizing, practicing a rotation nonstop until your fingers bleed, then this game has got like really high potential for perfect control and absolutely optimized play, which I have no interest in, like to be frank. But I do like the option to, if I ever was so bored. That is the only good thing I can think of about this game. Basically, everything else is either a straight ripoff of Genshin, and like not in a like a flattering way either. I shouldn't say straight ripoff because they kind of did like Genshin, but slightly less terrible for the player. And what bothers me about the way they did it, like bothers me more, is Genshin kind of came up with everything, like the framework for how they're going to do their game and all that themselves, whereas this game just kind of stole it and made it like slightly better. So, for example, with the Tower of Adversity, like the Abyss in Genshin Impact, you can get the maximum value of it's little Triforce symbols here. It's stars in Genshin. It's basically a time trial. So for the most part, it's a DPS check. Can you kill these things in the time provided? Which is basically like a giant gear check. So like this is like fun until you beat it for the first time, and then it's just a thing that you can do to get a few extra bits of currency every couple weeks. What I don't like about this compared to Genshin is instead of getting all of like the rewards in this premium currency, they came up with this separate hazard currency, just like they do for the where is it? For these things, these hologram fights. And there's a shop that you can go to buy it. So I don't like the fact that they split the currency up, and also I don't like the amount of currency that they give for everything. For the most part, just like how Genshin does like achievements, they've got all these things where you get like 5 here, ooh 20, 220. So that's pretty huge. Usually it's 5 or 10 for almost all these things, and like the odd one of these for absolutely no value to the player. But having like just the exclamation mark on my screen to go in to have to like click something for like 5 gems, like honestly, it actually bothers me that this is a thing. It is free currency, but I just wish that they actually took kind of like the achievement system and made it something that you actually felt good about getting achievements, and they like instead of just having like really generic things, have some difficult things and then have like good rewards. Give somebody a 10 pull or something. Like Genshin was always very stingy with things like that, and like they've kind of copied that entirely. The units in general, I do like a lot of the character design. I like the art. Obviously, I like Genshin for the same thing. Genshin's is a bit better in my opinion, but this is newer, so the characters art do seem like it's a 5-star like Gion stands out. But I still wouldn't say that like this character art is as good as Genshin. The skill leveling, I would say this beats Genshin by a mile, but it's still stupidly expensive, which I generally dislike a lot. for a character collecting thing, I would like to max out and play with all of the characters, and I don't think that it should cost 50 million gold and who knows how much resin, not resin, to reset to get the materials that you need. And then also they decided to keep the same structure as Genshin with skill level up materials that are boss drops, which you get 3 fights a week. Again, taken from Genshin. Like, there's no reason that they need to have these types of things. If they're going to put a gate on that, at least make it reasonable that players will be able to actually not have to choose between what they can level and what they can't level. I'm gonna hopefully try and max Jinshi, because she is like the most busted character. So that's like my current goal. But after I max her, I don't think I'm going to get anybody else past level 8. I think I'm going to cap everything at level 8 and just get everything else, because it just costs so much to get past. And I'm not good enough at the game to need to absolutely maximize all these other things. But the units, I generally like the units. Even like so far, every unit in the game is good at something. Like, there's something or some use that they have. They might not always be the best, but like you could use every unit in a viable team. There are teams for everybody. Even like something like Chixia, who is like the first character you get, very strong DPS. I haven't raised her, but I kind of regret to not. I wish I didn't raise Denjin, even though Denjin is better in every way. Like, it just feels like I want to play the main character because it's the main character. So it feels like I started racing her because she's really strong and it like has the exact same gear, and then I actually don't like playing her at all. So it just seems like a waste. And the artifact system or the echo system that they did. I do kind of like this 4-3-3-1-1 thing. This I kind of like. I like this actually a lot. And the set effects. I wish the set effects were better. I wish that they had like more creative bonuses, or they all just kind of had like a similar thing. Like, one of the things that makes like the geo element, or made back when I played Genshin anyway, the geo element so bad was that it was just an absolutely terrible effect. And you have things like the lingering tune set where this is just it only gives attack. So I mean, outro skill damage increased, but yeah, like, I don't know. Like, this really kind of seems terrible to me. So anytime you get a set that has this, it's like basically a throwaway. Moonlit Clouds is great. Rejuvenating Glow is great. So you can use both of these in the same team to buff your DPS. And then, like, all of the elements, for the most part, have their own kind of beneficial thing. We just need characters for a few of them. Like, there's arguably not, like, a great ice DPS at the time. Like, there is, but arguably not. Good enough to beat Tower. If you haven't seen 1010's videos, like, I'm pretty sure he beat the Tower 30 triangles, and he used, whatever the... Fuck, I can't even remember his name. The Lion Dancer. I don't have him. But he used the ice DPS for everything, even though his numbers are garbage. I did find that rolling substats in this is like much easier than it is in Genshin. But instead of using like extra dupes, you actually just have like the third resource to raise, and you can't use the dupes. You can combine them to get like a random shot at something, but you can't use them as extra XP, which is unfortunate. You can only use the XP leveling up materials, or a formerly raised one that you can get 80. I think it's about 80% of the XP back, same as in Genshin again. But I did find that like my rolls in this are like tremendously better than in Genshin Impact. Like, for the amount of like good substats that I got on like multiple characters, I would say my Gion, of my 3 DPS units, which would be the main character, Jinxie and Gion, she's like my rover has great stats. Jinshi is the best. Like a lot of my crit damage rolls are min rolls. Like 6-3 and 12-6 are the mins. And I like hit the mins a lot. I find like I got min both on this, but it's still better than finding another one that just even rolls it at all. But like still plenty of room for improvement on these. But like I'm quite happy with my rolls in this. Like my Jinxi's got almost 80% crit rate, and I think a decent, fairly decent crit damage modifier. My Gion is arguably a little bit better because I did get 3 of his things, and this one gives him 16% crit rate, 32% crit damage. And like, look at this. Like the trigger activation is, it's basically do thing, always have this for 8 seconds. So ideally, like you enter with an intro skill, you have a good bar, your ultimate's charged, boom, whatever. But like for the most part, when he's going to be doing the majority of his damage, he's going to get the extra 16%. So I thought that, like, I would rather have more crit damage, a little less crit rate, because I'm going to get some crit rate from his whatever the hell they call constellations in this game. But again, I still hate this as well. Like they even went with six dupes, and the same drop rates for the gacha, which is like a little bit painful. Now, luckily, they did give a ton of stuff away. Like they had an absolute terrible launch, and there was so many problems. But every single day, they were giving away 1 million gold. Here's another 10 pull. They were just giving tons of stuff away. I did get all of the 2 times gem packs, so I was able to get a few copies of Gion, and I didn't get enough to buy one of the duplicates in the shop of him, but I did have enough by the time Jinshi rolled around, and I was able to buy one of the dupes of her in the shop, which was nice. I did skip Yunlin, and I am skipping Zhongli as well. Don't really like either of those characters. But like, there's some things also with the stats being again a straight rip from Genshin. Like, one of the things that always pissed me off in Genshin is flat values of attack are not increased by attack percent. So attack percent as a modifier is like a heavily nerfed modifier because you only get attack percent increases on the flat value of the weapon and the character's base stats that they have. So it's like the you don't get like a full increase. You basically get your base stats, your weapon multiplied by a percent, whatever your percent attack modifier is, and then plus any flat additions of attack. Which I was hoping it would be different because in this game, like, you get huge amounts of attack from the echoes. So that's 450 attack right there. But I don't get the percent increases on those. Also, if you have like a flat rate on roll on an item, like they actually, like, 50 is a respectable roll. If it was being increased by percent as well, you might actually ideally want to have like a mix of both, or a flat roll wouldn't be absolutely so terrible. But given that this is how they decide to do things, it's just like, why do we even have flat rolls in the first place? Just like in Genshin, flat rolls are effectively here to say, go fuck yourself. We just put this so you could get the piece you wanted and then ruin it and not get stats that could do anything. And to me, if you're trying to make a Genshin game that's better, which by combat alone and gameplay, like, it is better. But like, why are you continuing to add things into the game that have been a nonstop source of stress and annoyance for like the player base all over? Nobody wants to waste all of the resources they got to farm like nonstop. Most of it's time gated, battle pass gated. Nobody wants to spend all that like on like one elemental unit of 1 DPS basically for a month at a time until they get like the right thing. No, I didn't spend that long on my stuff, and I got I think a lot of really good stuff, but I feel like they could have made it better and they dropped the ball. Next biggest complaint I have is the weapons. Basically, the 5-star weapons are good and the 4-star weapons are trash. There are some exceptions. For example, until there is a 5-star version that does the same type of thing, there are sometimes weapons that are not 5 stars that will kind of work with the kit. So Verena, getting all this concerto energy is going to make sure that she is more consistently able to use her outro skill in rotation. So basically every time she swaps in, does her little combo or whatever, and then swaps out, she'll be able to do the outro and give the buff to the DPS, which is nice. So this is one of the exceptions. The other exception is this 3-star weapon, because you can use this 3-star knuckle weapon to trigger the healing set. Because it does heal, it will give you the buff for all party members, 15% attack. And 30 seconds is a long time too, which is nice. This is basically up all the time, because there's like no rotations that are like more than 30 seconds that like most people will be ever using. So just seems like you get this 100% up, which is kind of cool. But other than that, like basically you have 5-star weapons, then you have trash, which is absolutely garbage when it comes to the battle pass. So the battle pass weapons, where are they? These are basically all bad. I would say that this is the best one, the greatsword. The problem is we have 2 5-star greatswords that have come out, Gion's and Jinchi's weapons, and they're both fantastic. So it's like this would be the one to go for, if you were somehow not able to get either of those 5-star weapons. But or maybe if you just want to be only 4 stars. But then, like, if you're being like super low spend or free to play, like you can't, like you gotta pay to get this on the battle pass, so you can't get this anyway. So it seems silly. For normal 4 stars, like these should definitely be at least at rank 5 on par, like within 5 to 10% of 5 stars, and like they're really not. Like this is kind of garbage. I do like basic and heavy attack damage bonus. There's just not really anybody to kind of like use this like really really well. Like you could argue Havoc Rover uses this decently. I still disagree, because like just having the attack percent subline is basically just asking to get neutered. The gun is also attack, and that sucks again. And then it's like it's just so bad. Like these are all so bad. Like if you need crit rate, then these 3 have crit rate. So at least you have a workable substat to go with, and then maybe somebody comes out who's like amazingly really good with like the battle pass weapon. But I really found the battle pass weapons to be really lacking compared to the Genshin battle pass weapons. Things like the black sword in Genshin were like clutch weapons for me for a long time, and I had a whale account. I used that sword like forever. I absolutely love that sword. And there were other great weapons in the battle pass. Like they were all, in my opinion, very viable at some point in the game for some units and a lot of builds. I find the weapons in this game to be completely lacking and just way too deliberately tilted towards get our 5-star weapon when it comes out. I like how the banner is like a guarantee to get the 5-star weapon, so it's much more friendly if you're saving up your gems for a long time for a particular unit. But other than that, there's no good things to say about the weapons either. Let's see. And lastly, I think just like the resource farm, the map in general. Like I really, really dislike the amount of farmable things. If they just removed all of the flowers from the game would be 5 times better overnight. Because it's just a waste to have to go around and pick up like hundreds of flowers all the time if you want to be maxing out their units. And this gets back to what I was saying before about like, you know, if they wanted to make an improvement over Genshin, what they should have done was make it so you actually can use your units. Like, don't make your kind of forced little time gate power creep mechanic based off of people not being able to use the units that you are trying to sell them. I think that's just a fundamentally bad thing to do, and that they should have like a way to like just, you know, if I want to just sit here all day and grind and farm, let me max out a unit, right? Which they could definitely get rid of if the wave plates here. If it's, I don't mind the resin system for kind of like ranking your account up. So, like, I've been playing for a couple months now. I played, I think, since the third or fourth day or whatever it is. And I just got 60 now. I've done like a few resets here and there, and I've used almost all of my my cube, my resin cubes, whatever they are. 1 second. I got 10 of them right now, but I got 15 when I turned 60. So, which is a nice thing in their shop. Level up packs as well. But I feel like that is fine to gate people, but what they should have done is not gate resources with it. What I think would be like really cool is if I can sit here and farm this endlessly, but I only gain account XP if I don't have the resin. That's what I think would be like a really cool system, because then like you can kind of get all these things. You don't need to drop a few of these other things. Like I think stuff like this, needing to farm, like go out into the world and like kill monsters and different enemies that drop certain things. I think that is a fine mechanic to have, especially because you get so many of them if you were like hard farming the map. Like I was hard farming the map, so I got like thousands of these things. I don't think I'm ever going to run out. But of course, if they release a new area and new units, then none of the items that I have are going to be for those units, which they will definitely go in that direction in the future as well, just like Genshin did, which is another huge mistake, I think. Like, having players that like are playing every single day, sending into your game every single day, they buy the daily sign-in gems or whatever, they get the battle pass, whatever. Don't say, oh, all our players have all these resources, so we're going to just let them keep unlimited resources that they've been farming endlessly forever, that they never needed to pick up ever again, because all the units are using different resources that we're putting somewhere else on our new island or wherever they're going to, whatever country they're going to do next. And that's kind of about it. Like, again, like the biggest complaint I've had about the game, I like Kuro as a developer. I think they're very good, and the combat's phenomenal. Like, that's really what's kind of kept me here the entire time. But I just like, I feel like I will definitely just stop playing this, because now that I've beaten the tower, it's kind of like game over, and the only thing to do is to, get new characters, swipe if I didn't save for long enough. It's like, it's a money sink and a waste of time, and it's all the same reasons that I quit Genshin Impact. Like, for the most part, there's just a lot of things to be upset about, because they copied them straight from Genshin, and they copied a bunch of things that they feel were good for their business, but they're absolutely terrible for the game and the gameplay and the long-term strength of the game. I'm sure it's got a few years in it, but like, it's just, the game is just too shallow when Genshin's on the market and has so much content. Like, if I went and re-rolled a brand new Genshin account tomorrow, just deleted my other account, I could probably play that for like a year before catching up to whatever the current content is. Whereas this, I'm basically stuck at, there's nothing to do. Well, in 15 days, or I guess in 7 days, I'll be able to do the Tower of Adversity again. Otherwise, it's sign into your daily so you can level up your account. And actually, I do have one more complaint about the battle pass. They did make this go up to level 70 instead of level 50, but why is everything after 50 just garbage? Like 25,000 credits, like every other time or third time. All right, here's something useful. Credits. But these always roll shit, by the way. Always roll shit. It's nice that they give them out. It would have been a nice like idea, but you know what would have been a better idea? Having substat reroll items so people don't have to farm things endlessly, and if they get like a really good piece, it just has like one terrible stat or something, they can reroll it. You know, that would be. I don't know why Genshin hasn't done this yet either. Like, why do you not allow rerolling of substats? Why do I have to make another one from scratch? And the reason is because probably because of the artificial scarcity of resources that they put in. Also, if you guys are not level 60 yet, just one other like kind of FU thing to the players. The shell credit simulation training does not give you more money once you get to 60. So I guess it's capped at the current one, where the monsters are level 85. I was hoping that this would go higher at 60. Maybe it goes higher in the future, but so far, no good. Anyway, that's going to be it for this review. Basically, I only have things to complain about outside of combat. Everything else is kind of like Genshin nostalgic. The events are nice. I actually really like this, like the Depths of Elusive Realm, which I haven't finished. Apparently, I thought that I finished it. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this review. Let me know what you guys are feeling. Like, I'm gonna start playing Nexon's new looter shooter. I played it for like an hour the other day, and I'm thinking I'll just get into it. Oh, that's why I haven't played anymore. 10 of them. I need the money. I'm definitely going to be doing this again. Wait, did they add that? They must have added this after. I definitely would have bought this. All right. Anyway, this is a great game mode. Maybe I'll do another one and do some runs on this or something. Like, did they add more quests? No, they didn't. But like, their events are good compared to a lot of the Genshin quests. I prefer this, but you know, not really anything special. They're just kind of like ways to give people resources that they have been kind of told they can't have through the design of the game. So anyway, good work to Kuro. Just I really wish that they did a lot of things differently.